I think everybody overthinks this guy. There's no strategy. There is no thought. And the brand is just him. He lives in this world where there's just him. Okay?
But it's not just him, George. It's a hell of a lot of people out there who've gotten sucked up into this thing and that are perpetuating
I agree with
that brand.
I'm talking about in his mind.
Okay.
None of us matter. Those people don't matter. They're not real people. He doesn't care what happens to them. Mm-hmm. If they show him adulation and they do what his bidding, that's good. If they don't do his bidding, he will destroy them. He will discard them. None of us, in his mind, okay, he's someone, as a man with no empathy, a man with no conscience, it's just him.
As we mentioned, the former president's lawyers, they're going to argue tomorrow that his actions after the 2020 election were all covered by presidential immunity. How do you think this is going to play out?
I don't think it's going to play out very well for the former president tomorrow. I think one of the basic guidelines I always had in watching arguments of any sort in court, and particularly appellate arguments, is the side that gets the most questions is probably the one going to get the short end of the stick in the ruling at the end. And I anticipate that most of the questions are going to be directed at Trump and his lawyers on how you can possibly justify giving a president who is sworn to uphold the laws of the United States and the Constitution of the United States, how that person can be above the law and anything can be lawful just because the president says so. No one has ever bought that. It's completely inconsistent with our constitutional tradition, and there's just no way that a court is going to accept that.
Here is George Conway, formerly married to Kellyanne Conway and a respected lawyer, along with Sarah Longwell, who I believe is also a lawyer and his partner on his podcast, talking about the legal profession and Trump.
When I read that letter, I was just moved by it because it really conveyed everything. People want to stand up for something, and I wanted them to know people are listening to them, and it was good to know that people are listening to us. We're all in this together, and this is a fight for so much more than profits for partner. This is a fight for democracy. This is a fight for the rule of law. And some people just don't give a shit, and that makes me angry.
You know, you join the legal profession and they hit you with, I have a lot of really good friends who are lawyers, they hit you with a lot of like, this is a revered profession. Yep. You have a real role that you play in society. Yep. There are these invisible lines that you help maintain for the Constitution. And then to have everybody just act then like it doesn't matter at all is bizarre.
Spouses. You know, it hurts.
Literally in tears. But I heard none of that when they unleashed the lawfare campaign against Trump.
Donald Trump, we know, is basically a matrushka doll? How do you say that? Of lies and mendacity. Basically, he'll lie, then he'll lie about lying, then he'll lie about lying about lying, and then he'll lie about lying about lying about lying. And that's what he does all the time. And that's what he's doing here.
You know, it's... So today we will be talking about and we'll be reacting to George Conway absolutely destroying Trump live on TV. Now, I've said this so many times. George Conway is even one person that invested in Trump's businesses, but the fact that he has had this one-on-one experience with Donald Trump and coming out to speak about these things means a whole lot. The Harvard attorney has spent, from what I'm seeing, almost 1.5 million of his own cash just to go on TV to brutally destroy Trump and run ads, not only on TV ads, but on billboards to actually expose the president. Now, Conway destroying Trump and dismantling everything Trump has said came as a result of some evidence. Now, the first part you just watched is quite interesting. Before Trump actually went into office, he was facing a lot of, let's say, court cases. He was going through a lot of criminal cases. And honestly, at that point in time, when I was watching everything that happened from the court case, financial court case, to the one of the assault, to this, to that, what he did after, yes, he had the presidential immunity. But say he didn't win, that's current. election term, generally, I think he would have been sitting behind bars. And to be honest, regardless of the fact that I think Trump ran on what the American people really wanted to hear in terms of closing the border, in terms of reducing crime, in terms of doing all that, I think he ran on the things that most Americans wanted. The problem here is that George Conway two things that some of the things Trump has promised, he hasn't done them, and he's not eventually going to do that. And he draws back to the evidence. He draws back because there's evidence of his first term, there's evidence of the crimes he committed, and the reason why he truly ran for this election, from what he's trying to tell us, John Conway is trying to tell us, is because he was trying to run away from jail. Now, with that said, you have your opinions, drop it in the comment section, what you think about Josh Conway. I always say this, there is no smoke without fire. And if Josh Conway is saying this thing, I try to also reason it. And I ask myself, for real, what Josh Conway says makes sense, right? What he says makes sense. Think about it, knowing fully well that you might go to jail if you don't win this election, you might put in all in it. So let's keep watching more videos so that we get to know and understand what Josh Conway is saying these things, because I think it genuinely came from somewhere. Let's just watch.
What we're seeing now is, as you put it, an implosion. And this, I believe, is what ultimately was always going to happen, the final implosion of Donald Trump. I mean, it's like Hitler, when Hitler was moving around divisions that didn't exist in the last 10 days of the war in the Führer bunker. I mean, he has completely lost it. This post is beyond question delusional, but it was also inevitable, because what's happening here is he realizes he's gotten under more pressure than ever, because he's not just running for the presidency, he's running for his freedom. He's going to go to jail if he does not win the presidency, and he can see that now. And that's why he's doubling down on the unreality. It's partly for self-soothing, partly it's just because he can't help it. He's a pathological liar, being a sociopath. And what we're watching is I mean, we're going to make fun of it because it helps provoke him into self-destruction, which is what the country needs. But it's actually very, very sad.
Watching. We know that. That's what he did for 4 years in the White House. And you say...
Now, you see, Conway is very passionate, especially when he speaks about Trump. And I understand that. I fully understand it. Think about a man spending such an amount of money on billboards, running ads to actually tell people this guy isn't a good guy and all that. I truly understand why he's done that. And you just watch the tweet Trump tweeted out. By default, you have to say it gives Conway some reason not to want to like Donald Trump, right? Imagine you're getting divorced with your wife. There's been a whole lot of issues, and the president or the former president at that time come out to say, "Oh, congratulations on divorcing your husband. He's whack. He's not a nice guy. You're going to be successful." I mean, come to think of it, you won't like that, right? You won't like that. And I truly understand why, to a greater extent, Conway doesn't like Trump. Now, speaking about the fact that Conway said Trump lies, and then he lies about lying, and then lies about lying about lying, that one got me. This is not the first time that I think a media personality has come up to the public to say Trump said this and he did not do it. Trump said this and then he got confused in the process of explaining what he wanted to explain, You get, it's not the first time. But this clip with Jimmy Kimmel makes you know George Conway is very passionate, especially when it comes to Trump. And you can easily see it by the way he reacts, the way he's emotional about it. In fact, the previous clip you just watched, Josh Conway was very passionate. I like when people are free to speak and people can speak up their mind and say it as it is, right? Because it's not the first time. Conway didn't just attack Trump's personality. He attacked his government. He attacked his executive orders. He attacked his decision thinking. He attacked his thinking process. He even went on national television to boil the entire White House down and every single decision Trump has made. Now, everything I have on my tablet here says Conway doesn't like Trump, because I've written down this list of points, and to be honest, he even compared Trump at some point to Hitler. Is Trump Hitler? Definitely not. Is Trump a king? Definitely not. He was elected into office. But it really hurts Conway that some things Trump has said he hasn't done them. And when it comes to the Eugene Carlos case, he truly believed that Trump is on the wrong side. And we've watched videos where I've broken down that from even media's touch and their opinions on that. Now, before we continue, let's watch more of these clips from other different sources because I'm going to relate it back to exactly what Conway is saying. Let's get into it. Watch it yourself.
Let's just go through, though, the utter embarrassment and shame.
He's saying that his crowds are bigger. He said his crowds a weeks ago.
She really got under his skin.
It was great. You know, he's saying that they're artificially intelligence generated crowds. It's like 80,000 people, all with cameras. They all saw these things. He's out of.
Do you think he believes that stuff?
It doesn't. You know, it actually doesn't matter. If he believes it, he's freaking nuts. If he believes that other people are going to believe it, he's freaking nuts. Okay? Not even his own people believe it anymore.
When you and Kellyanne split up, he actually, there was a tender moment. He tweeted this, congratulations to Kellyanne Conway on her divorce from her wacko husband, Mr. Kellyanne Conway. Free at last, she has finally gotten rid of the disgusting albatross around her neck. She's a great person who will now be free to lead the kind of life that she deserves, and it will be a great life without the extremely unattractive loser.
It was past his jail time. Did you see my response?
What was your response?
My response was, "Hi, Donald. Nice to see you. Looking forward to seeing you at Eugene Carroll's trial next month."
Oh, yeah.
83.3 million on that one.
You spend the money that is contributed to your PAC on billboards, on commercials. You put commercials on Fox News. And that's really, because then that's where he sees them, and that's what really upsets him.
Yeah, because he sits around in his underwear tweeting and watching. We know that. That's what he did for 4 years in the White House.
And you say that as a person who was married to his campaign manager, to his right-hand person.
Yeah, I mean, you know, she was very good at manipulating him. He's very easy to manipulate, okay? And that's what part of my political action committee does. And that's what they were trying to do before this debate. But you can't control him. And it's great. If you're on the other side, and the Harris campaign has been doing a great job of it, is manipulating him. They're putting up these signs in Philadelphia. It's like, you manipulate him, and then it becomes the other side's problem to control him. They say, "Donald, don't talk about cats being eaten." And what does he do? Talks about cats being eaten. Okay? I mean,
yeah.
You know.
He's like a 6-year-old. It really is unbelievable.
Well, it's funny. Somebody tweeted tonight during the debate that, they had the discussion about late-term abortion and post-birth abortion. It's like, well, Kamala Harris aborted a 78-year-old tonight.
Let's just go through, though, the utter embarrassment and shame Donald Trump is experiencing. Iran announces that its foreign minister, Araghchi, held bilateral communications with the foreign minister of the UK. Foreign Minister Araghchi announced bilateral negotiations and communications with Turkey, bilateral communications and negotiations with Japan, bilateral negotiations and communication with Saudi Arabia's foreign minister, bilateral communications and negotiation with Spain's foreign minister, bilateral communications and negotiations with Poland's foreign minister, with the foreign minister of Switzerland, with the foreign minister of India, with the foreign minister of Italy, with the foreign minister of South Korea, with the foreign minister of Brazil, with the foreign minister of Turkmenistan, with the foreign minister of Pakistan, with the foreign minister of Kenya, with the foreign... Do you get the point? Do you get the point? And by the way, this is public stuff. They're not hiding it. One by one, foreign ministers of nations that were once allied with the United States are lining up to speak with Foreign Minister Araghchi, because Iran is in a stronger position. And these countries are trying to figure out, how can we get our ships through the Strait of Hormuz? And we have to recognize that Iran is not just a regional power player right now, but is an international power player like never before, as Donald Trump lost the war, as the mighty and powerful United States Navy is now reduced to behaving like pirates, as CENTCOM is bragging that it attacks certain ghost ships of Iran, and they want to get like applauded because the powerful U.S. Navy attacks defenseless cargo ships heading to China? I mean, are you kidding me? Our Navy is the strongest Navy in the history of humankind. Our soldiers, as Hegseth likes to say, our war fighters, they are patriots. They are strong. They are the best trained. But in the hands of a sicko, maniac, lifelong bankrupting loser like Donald Trump, we're seeing how it plays out. And the rest of the world sees this. Why do you think they're so publicly calling Foreign Minister Araghchi? Why do you think China's giving Iran the red carpet treatment before Donald Trump's visit with Xi Jinping?
We're at a point almost 10 weeks after a missile hit a girls' school in Iran. Who fired that missile?
So that's under study right now, and we'll give you a report as soon as we have it.
We saw Donald Trump getting off of Marine One earlier in the week. He cannot walk in a straight line, and we've seen this. It just keeps on getting worse. Remember last August when Donald Trump met with Putin? Same thing. Can't walk in a straight line. Go back, show Marine One. Can't walk in a straight line. Back to the meeting with Putin on the red carpet. Can't walk in a straight line. I'll show you when Donald Trump was recently with the Prime Minister of Japan, Takaishi. Can't walk in a straight line. Then yesterday, couldn't walk in a straight line when he was walking away from the press, going to Marine One. He's all over the place. Left, right. I mean, his hands this week all blotched up with makeup. I mean, when you actually looked at it, I mean, there's like, looks like a gallon of makeup on his hand. He had that weird appearance with the little kids where he was talking to the kids. I stopped 8 wars. Barack Hussein Obama, you know, and saying the most inappropriate thing to these children. And then he went out and he made the little kids watch him putt golf balls, and he missed everyone. And his hands, I don't know if you saw, his hands looked like shaky. You know, the Larry David episode where the surgeon's hands were shaky. Anyway, Donald Trump couldn't hit a basic putt. All the guy does is golf. He couldn't hit a basic putt. So the guy can't walk straight. He couldn't hit a basic putt. He can't say words. He's not speaking in sentences. Donald Trump's constant taunting of Iran has backfired as a major escalation event just took place. Iran has officially struck a port area in the United Arab Emirates, also after striking a South Korean ship as well as a UAE ship. Now, this follows Donald Trump saying that the United States was entering the Strait of Hormuz to escort ships. CENTCOM posted that 2 U.S.-based ships had been transiting the Strait of Hormuz. This followed Donald Trump's social media post saying that the U.S. Navy was going to head in and escort ships, to which some members of the United States military at a leadership level tried to pull those statements back and say, no, we're just going to be providing some guidance and logistical support to ships already in the Strait of Hormuz to help coordinate when the Strait of Hormuz opens. According to Iran, they saw certain moves that were happening in the Strait of Hormuz that signaled that the U.S. was working with the United Arab Emirates to bring some of these ships out of the Strait of Hormuz. And then the UAE took action by striking this port city, which I'll talk about in a second. It holds a lot of significance, and I'll explain why. And also it hit 2 ships that Iran said was trying to exit the Strait of Hormuz. Now, this specific port city that was just struck by Iran is the Fujairah port. You see it right here on fire. There's no dispute that this port was struck, and it's been the only remaining UAE oil export outlet, an endpoint of a pipeline that the UAE built to bypass the Strait of Hormuz. And so Iran striking this area so that you couldn't have the oil bypass the Strait of Hormuz. Here's additional photos of that port in Fujairah on fire. There's also a petrochemical plant there as well. So as I noted at the outset, the South Korean Ministry of Foreign Affairs confirmed to their news agency that a South Korean vessel was struck in the Strait of Hormuz. its engine room on the port, the left side of the ship, on fire. Fortunately, no casualties there. Similarly, the United Arab Emirates confirmed that one of its ships associated with its ANDOC tankers, AND.
Now, you just watched it. So, the reason why I brought up this clip specifically for Media's Touch is because of one reason. Conway before spoke about some things like promises Trump is going to make and he is not going to accomplish them. Then I remember using the word Josh Conway said that he lies, then lies over lying, then lie again over lying and lying like that. So I brought up this clip from the media touch because I want you to understand that if you notice, for example, the peace treaty that was supposed to be a peace treaty now it wasn't a peace treaty. The fact that Trump came out to say the war in Iran has been won, it actually hasn't been won. If we even go as far as looking at Ukraine-Russia war, nothing hasn't still been won. I remember there was this specific speech when Trump said, when I get in power, the war ends immediately. I think I don't know how he phrased it, but something of that sort. And we still experiencing not just one, but two wars concurrently. Now, with that said, I will have to say this to a lot of people watching. Despite the fact that he hasn't promised on his words, I think we all just want global peace. We just want the United States to get this done because, to be honest, the US is the global power. Trump is the president of the whole world, regardless of whatever you think, right? I wish for better decisions, regardless of the political tension in the whole world right now, especially in the United States. We feel like the best decisions to be made. Oil prices are quite high right now. Thinking about the fact that the Strait of Hormuz has been blocked, it's terrible for the whole wide world, and it affects every level of the economy because without oil, without gas, I mean, how does the economy want to function? And yeah, I understand why George Conway is pouring out his frustrations. Just watch what Miley Sellers has to say on this podcast because he had to say it clean and clear. And to be honest, I atone with his words. I understand why he says those things, and it makes sense to me. And yeah, George Conway had broken down everything he had to say that Trump lies about lying and lying again about lying. You might see why. Now, if you've watched this clip and you've understood everything I've shared with you, drop your thoughts in the comment section. I have this question to ask you, right? Will you really be happy if your country keeps losing wars? Or will you be happy if your country keeps creating wars? I know why I'm asking this because in another video, I'm going to break it down for you. Thank you for watching this video and I will see you in another one.